$1 million a day. Not a year, not a quarter, every single day. That is the real number, verified by official UK financial filings, that one man was quietly pocketing from a platform used by over 300 million people worldwide. And here is the wildest part. While millions of creators were posting content, building audiences, and putting themselves out there for the entire internet to judge, the guy who owned the whole thing was basically invisible. One photo, 0 interviews, no verified social media, nothing. His name was Leonid Radvinsky, and by the time the world found out who he really was, he was already gone. Dead at 43 from cancer, leaving behind a multi-billion-dollar empire built on a 20% cut of every single transaction on the most controversial platform on the internet. So buckle up, because this story starts with a teenage kid in Chicago running scam websites out of his bedroom and ends with a $5.5 billion fortune passed to a family trust controlled by his widow, a philanthropist and lawyer who has zero history in the adult entertainment industry. This is how one man built a digital toll booth on human desire and became one of the richest people you have never heard of. The ghost who owned the internet. Leonid Radvinsky was born on May 30th, 1982 in Odessa, Ukraine, back when it was still part of the Soviet Union. His family was Jewish, and like a lot of families in that region during the collapse of the USSR, they packed up and moved to America when he was a kid. They ended up in the suburbs of Chicago, Illinois. Now here is where it gets interesting. This kid was not messing around in school. He went to Northwestern University, one of the best schools in the entire country, and graduated summa cum laude in 2002 with a degree in economics. Not just any graduate either, he was the class valedictorian, so we are talking about a legitimately brilliant mind. But the academic stuff? That was the side quest, because by the time he was 15 years old, he was already running websites. By 17, he had co-founded an entire company called Cybertania, a web referral business, during the peak of the first .com bubble. And he was not building anything wholesome. He ran a network of over 10 websites with names like Password Universe and Ultra Passwords that advertised access to hacked passwords for adult sites. Now, before you panic, investigations later confirmed these sites never actually delivered illegal content. It was a massive clickbait funnel. Users looking for illicit access got bounced through endless referral links, and Radvinsky collected affiliate fees at every single click. One of those sites alone was pulling in $1.8 million a year. For a college kid, let that sit for a second. Most of us were eating ramen and begging for textbook money, and this guy was running a $1 million traffic machine from his dorm room. He even got sued by Microsoft and Amazon in 2004 for sending millions of spoofed emails to Hotmail users, making them look like they came from Amazon. The case got dismissed, but the damage was done in the best way possible for him. He had learned exactly how internet traffic, adult content, and payment processing worked at massive scale. The stepping stone, MyFreeCams. That same year, 2004, Radvinsky took all that affiliate money and launched MyFreeCams through a holding company called MFCXY. It was a live webcam platform where performers broadcast interactive video feeds and viewers tipped them with digital tokens. This was the missing puzzle piece. MyFreeCams turned him from a guy who drove traffic into a full-blown platform owner. He learned how to handle high-bandwidth live video streaming, real-time micropayments on a global scale, and most importantly, how to work with high-risk payment processors, the banks that most companies cannot even get in a room with. The platform printed money. It made him rich enough to launch his own venture capital fund called Leo in 2009, investing in tech and social media startups. But he was not done, not even close. Because in 2018, a little subscription platform from London was about to land in his lap and change the internet forever. Buying OnlyFans, the $5.5 billion move. Okay, so here is how OnlyFans actually started. A guy named Tim Stokely from Essex, England, his dad was a retired Barclays banker, had been tinkering with niche adult content sites for years. He launched OnlyFans in 2016 with a £10,000 loan from his father. And his dad allegedly told him, quote, "This is going to be the last one." The original idea was actually not even about adult content. Stokely wanted musicians, fitness trainers, and chefs to monetize their fans through paid subscriptions, but the users had other plans. By 2017, he lifted the ban on explicit content, and the thing took off like a rocket. Within its first month, it had over 1,000 paying subscribers. By mid-2018, it had over 1 million registered users and had paid out over $10 million to creators. But here was the problem. OnlyFans needed serious infrastructure, servers, high-risk payment processing, global scale, and that is exactly what Leonid Radvinsky brought to the table. In 2018, Radvinsky bought a 75% controlling stake in Phoenix International Limited, the London-based parent company behind OnlyFans, for an undisclosed amount. And just like that, the invisible man from Chicago owned the most explosive creator platform on the planet. He never became CEO. He never did a single interview about the purchase. He operated entirely from behind the curtain, while Stokely stayed on as the public face until stepping down in December 2021. And get this, the entire core staff at Phoenix headquarters in London, about 42 to 46 people, that is it. 40-something employees running a company that processes over $7 billion a year. To put that in perspective, your average McDonald's has more employees than the corporate team behind OnlyFans. Let that marinate. The money machine, $1 million a day. Alright, here is where the numbers get absolutely insane, and I need you to really pay attention because these are verified financial filings, not estimates. OnlyFans operates on an 80-20 split. Creators keep 80% of everything they earn: subscriptions, tips, pay-per-view content. The platform takes 20%. Sounds reasonable, right? Now watch what 20% of the entire internet's desire looks like. In 2024, subscribers spent $7.22 billion on the platform. $7.22 billion. OnlyFans kept its 20% cut, which came out to $1.44 billion in net revenue. Pre-tax profit? Pre-tax profit, $683.6 million for a company with fewer than 50 core employees. That is roughly $31 million in net revenue per employee. Meta, Google, Apple, none of them even come close to that kind of efficiency. But here is where it gets personal. Because Radvinsky was the sole controlling shareholder, those profits flowed directly into his bank account as dividends. In 2023, he collected $472 million in dividends. In 2024, that jumped to $497 million, and between December 2024 and April 2025 alone, just 5 months, he pulled out another $204 million across 5 separate payments. Let me do the math for you on just the first 3 months of 2024. January, $43 million. February, $40 million. March, $47 million. That is $130 million in 90 days. Divide that out and you get $1.44 million every single day. Over the full trailing year before August 2025, the man collected $701 million in total dividends. That works out to roughly $1.92 million per day. Per day. Most people do not make that in a lifetime, and this guy was making it before breakfast. Since 2020, his total personal cash extraction from OnlyFans exceeded $1.3 billion. And the craziest part? Compare that 20% take rate to the rest of the tech world. YouTube takes 45% of ad revenue. Twitch takes 50% from top creators. Apple takes 30% off the top of every App Store purchase. OnlyFans charges the lowest commission in the entire creator economy, and it still made its owner a multi-billionaire. That is how massive the demand was. The invisible billionaire's real life. So you would think a guy pulling in almost $2 million a day would be living like a Bond villain, right? Gold-plated yachts, private islands, a fleet of Bugattis? Nope, not even close. Leonid Radvinsky might have been the most deliberately boring billionaire on the planet. No mega yacht, no private jet collection, no verified exotic car fleet, nothing. The man specifically engineered his life to be completely invisible. Here is what we know about his real estate. Around 2020, he moved from Chicago to South Florida because obviously no state income tax, and bought a sprawling estate in Boca Raton for just under $4 million. 5 acres, 9 bedrooms, almost 10,000 square feet of living space. And here is a fun detail. The previous owner was tennis legend Chris Evert. So the most secretive billionaire in tech was living in a tennis star's old house. He also owned a penthouse at Oceana Bal Harbor in Miami, one of the most exclusive oceanfront condo buildings in the country. country. His unit was valued at around $19 million and covered 6,000 square feet. For context, the premium penthouses in that building list for over $40 million. So even by billionaire standards, the man was not showing off. His wife, Yekaterina Chudnovsky, was a lawyer for a global tech firm and a dedicated philanthropist. She ran special projects at the Rare Cancer Research Foundation and advocated for oncology research and animal welfare. They had 4 kids together and lived what everyone around them described as an aggressively normal private life. The irony is almost poetic. The man who owned the internet's biggest adult platform was basically a suburban dad who liked his privacy. Section 6. The controversies that almost killed it. Now, you cannot build a multi-billion-dollar empire on adult content without some serious drama. And in August 2021, OnlyFans came within 6 days of destroying itself. The platform announced it was banning all sexually explicit content effective October 1st. The entire creator base lost its mind. The media went into a frenzy, and everyone assumed it was some kind of moral decision by the ownership, but it was not. It was the banks. CEO Tim Stokely went public and named names. BNY Mellon had been flagging and rejecting every single wire transfer from OnlyFans. JP Morgan Chase and Metrobank were pulling their banking support over what they called reputational risk. At the same time, MasterCard rolled out brutal new policies requiring pre-approval and verification of all adult content before payments could process. Think about that for a second. It did not matter that OnlyFans was a legal business making billions. The banks and payment processors had the power to shut the whole thing down by simply refusing to move the money. The ACLU even filed a formal complaint with the FTC arguing MasterCard was using its market power to enforce financial censorship against legal workers. 6 days later, OnlyFans reversed the ban, claiming they had secured the necessary assurances from banking partners. But the message was loud and clear. The entire multi-billion-dollar machine was always one banking decision away from total collapse, and there were darker issues too. Investigations into Radvinsky's older platform MyFreeCams uncovered horrific cases of women being kept in domestic servitude and forced to produce content by abusive partners. In March 2025, UK regulator Ofcom fined OnlyFans £1 million for failing to properly respond to questions about their age verification systems. The platform was growing so fast that policing millions of hours of content with facial estimation technology was proving nearly impossible. Meanwhile, BBC investigations found that during COVID lockdowns, desperate university students flooded the platform to survive financially, only to face devastating psychological consequences: isolation, anxiety, and terror of being discovered by their schools and future employers. And here is the philosophical gut punch that critics kept coming back to. Radvinsky built a system where 4 million creators bore every ounce of physical, psychological, and social risk, while he sat invisibly behind the curtain collecting 20% of everything. Zero content production costs, zero personal exposure, maximum financial upside. The numbers behind the empire. Let me hit you with the numbers that show how massive this thing actually got. By 2024, OnlyFans had 4.6 million active creator accounts and 377.5 million registered fan accounts. The US alone drives nearly 49% of all traffic. Total creator payouts since launch have exceeded $10 billion. This thing is not a platform. It is a small country's GDP, but the wealth distribution is wildly unequal. At the top, Black China reportedly earns up to $20 million per month. Bella Thorne pulls $11 million. Cardi B, Iggy Azalea, and Coco Austin are all in the $9 to $10 million range. These are celebrity-level paydays. Meanwhile, the average OnlyFans creator, $131 a month. That is not a typo. $131. Even breaking into the top 1% of all creators on the platform only gets you about $49,000 a year, which is a livable salary in some places, but a galaxy away from the luxury lifestyle the platform sells. And despite repeated attempts to diversify, including launching a free safe-for-work streaming app called OFTV in 2021, somewhere between 70 and 80% of all content and revenue still comes from adult categories. The brand and the business are inseparable. death, legacy, and the $5.5 billion question. On March 20th, 2026, Leonid Radvinsky died at his home in Florida after a private battle with cancer. He was 43 years old. Reports say his death was not publicly known for several days. The most invisible billionaire in tech left the world the same way he lived in it, silently. At the time of his death, Forbes and Bloomberg estimated his net worth at approximately $4.7 billion, though the Forbes 400 list just months earlier had pegged it as high as $7.8 billion. The fluctuation tells you everything about how secretive his finances were. Even the professional wealth trackers could not pin him down. In 2024, likely sensing what was coming with his health, Radvinsky had quietly transferred his controlling ownership of OnlyFans into a private family trust. After his death, the trust and full control of a $5.5 billion adult content infrastructure passed to his widow, Yekaterina Chudnovsky, a philanthropist, a cancer research advocate, a mother of 4, a lawyer with zero connection to the adult entertainment industry. And that is the question that keeps the entire tech and finance world up at night. Will she keep the machine running? Will she sell? Before his death, Radvinsky had been in talks to sell a 60% stake at a $3.5 billion valuation. Earlier negotiations with a group led by a former Disney executive had targeted an $8 billion price tag before falling apart. Whatever happens next, the numbers tell the story. One man, one platform, a 20% cut, and a daily income that most Fortune 500 CEOs could not match in a year. Leonid Radvinsky turned invisible into invincible and built the quietest financial empire the internet has ever seen.